Hello, so in this video I'll share 40 Starfield tips and tricks. I'm making two versions of this video, a short one which you are watching right now and a longer version for those who want additional commentary that I will upload later on. Alright, let's get started since I only have 10 minutes to share a lot of information with you. When you start the game, make sure to pick kit, staff, trade, and then regularly visit your parents to acquire a unique ship, recipe, and armor. All of them are very powerful in their own way. Start upgrading your security skill as soon as possible, because it's one of the skills that take the longest to level up, but at the same time is extremely useful. A lot of really great items and features are hidden behind higher level locks. You can grab objects and move them around. So if, for example, one of the things you don't like about Starfield is facial animations, you can grab a bucket and stick it right on top of someone's head.
Known for ship manufacture.
When exploring different areas, try to keep your scanner open so you don't miss important information, objects, and resources. Once you are done helping the mayor in Aquila, put at least 1 point in the theft skill so you can acquire one of the best free weapons in the game by pickpocketing an NPC called Emma Wilcox. Toggle the game difficulty before encountering enemies. So for example, before boarding an enemy ship. This way you get better chances at meeting legendary enemies who have better drops. You can always lower the difficulty, even during a fight. It is going to affect the weapon's damage, but not the loot you get from enemies that have already spawned. Look for skill magazines. They provide you with permanent buffs and bonuses. You can steal historical items from the Coal Museum in Aquila City. In my case, I stole some antiques, dropped onions in their place, and made a display of stolen items in my house. Complete the series of 3-star ranger quests to get one of the best free ships in the game, the Star Eagle. When you travel around different systems, make sure to scan planets for research data that can later be sold to a man called Vladimir. If you haven't met him yet, no worries, just follow the main questline. If the seller runs out of money or you need more of a specific item that has been sold out, just look around for a chair or bed and wait for 24 hours. The seller's inventory and credits are going to be refilled. Speaking of sleeping, if you sleep for as little as 1 hour, you will be granted a well-rested buff that provides you with a 10% XP gain boost. You can buy resources from ships flying around planets, and whatever you buy will be placed in your ship's inventory, assuming you have enough space in it. Outpost names can be changed. This feature greatly helps with keeping track of what your outposts do and avoiding accidentally flying to the wrong one. Early in the game, put at least 1 point in the boost pack training skill, and whenever you have a point to spare, keep on upgrading the skill. The game does not allow players to drive vehicles, so boost packs make moving around much less time consuming, and the boost pack can also break a fall. Now, let's talk about storage in Starfield. A lot of people mention that in the basement of the lodge, there's a box with an infinite storage space, right? But did you know there's actually more than one? Upstairs, there's even an emergency first aid box that has infinite storage too. Those boxes are spread all around the lodge, so make sure to use them to store different category of items properly. If you are not at the lodge, and let's say you are at the outpost you just built, or you are on your ship or at your apartment and you have no inventory space anywhere, that's fine. Just drop your items on the floor and they will be there until you pick them up again. Use the quick selection menu to manage your favorite items. It can be used to quickly access foods, heals, and weapons. When you travel to a system, hover over planets and moons to see details about them. Without having to land, you can find out information like resources, oxygen level, inhabitation, and more. Globes are Starfield's collectibles. They can be acquired in many different ways. I'll mention the easiest one to get. Just head to the bookstore in Aquila City called Sinclair's Books and purchase The Ancient Civilization of Egypt. Read it and then go to the Sol system, then land on Earth in Egypt. The snow globe is gonna be on top of one of the pyramids. As I mentioned, storage is always an issue for the players, so early in the game put a point in weightlifting skill. It's going to increase your carrying capacity. At level 4 you get extra 100 kilograms. One of the best planets to visit and build your outpost on is Strix 1. It's a habitable planet full of basic resources, enemies to kill, and with many beautiful biomes. Also, there are a few exploits and tricks you can try out on that planet to gain levels real fast, which I discussed in one of my videos. If you are interested in those exploits, I will leave a clickable link at the end and in the description.
Rangers,
there are
traders,
often workbenches right
tourists.
next to the
They
sellers.
all come to
You
me
should
for
make sure to
supplies.
take advantage of that by buying resources you need to make upgrades from the seller and then using the bench that's located right next to
We'd be
them.
better off.
Only keep in your inventory what you actually need and store everything else away. Remember the quick access menu I mentioned earlier? Only keep only weapons, aid and food items that have been already added to your favorites. This way, when you go out exploring or questing, you'll have more inventory space to pick up extra stuff. Adding resources to your ship's inventory allows you to craft and do research even when those items are not on you. If you're rushing through the game just for the sake of discovering the storyline, I would strongly advise that you level up the dueling skill. It will allow you to do most of your damage using melee weapons without having to worry about having enough ammo on you. Not just that, at level 4 it grants you an ability to heal 10% every time you kill an enemy with a melee weapon. So at lower difficulties you don't even have to worry about depending on med packs and healing items. Do you remember a weapon called the cutter that you get at the beginning of the game? It should always be in your inventory because you will use it to collect raw resources, like for example iron. And since we're talking about the cutter, if you charge it, you can harvest raw resources much faster. To charge your cutter, hold the left trigger on your controller or the left mouse button if you're playing on PC. Make sure not to sell your expensive items right away, even if you are certain that you are not interested in using them at any point. Level up commerce skill first so you can get way more credits for your items. Let's talk about the Starfield map now. It's full of dots. How are you supposed to remember which systems you've already visited, right? So the systems that you visited will glow. The ones you haven't visited will be just plain white dots, and the ones you can't reach in a single jump will just be red.
Always the blood. The only
There's an
place
incredibly
worse than
fun
victory.
mission called Operation Starseed. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a mission just packed with a bunch of popular culture and real-life history references. Make sure to check it out. I made a video explaining the references. Once again, you can find a link to that video in the description down below.
Seldom.
If your goal is to level up by killing enemies and you have a companion with you, make sure that at least 20% of the damage that led to an enemy's death came from you. Otherwise, you will get no XP for the kill. I'm sure you already know that you can ask your companions to carry your loot, but did you know you can control what weapon and armor they will equip? All you need to do is equip it from their inventory, and if it's a gun, make sure your companion has at least one ammo for it. Eventually, I'm sure you will end up stealing something and you don't want to be caught with a stolen item. So what you want to do is go to a trade authority, sell that item and then buy it back. The red stolen icon will disappear. Fast travel from the missions menu. As long as you are not encumbered, you don't have to walk all the way back to your ship to travel between systems or to travel to different locations on the planet you are already on. Did you know you don't have to register a ship at a ship vendor? You can do it by pressing the tab key or the start button on the Xbox controller. You're gonna want to view your ships, then make the one you wanna register your home ship, and the option to register is gonna appear as soon as you do it. There's a way to access a really powerful spacesuit set that becomes available as soon as you arrive at the lodge. There's a mannequin locked inside a display case in the basement. However, even though it's locked, there's a small gap in between the door and the rest of the display structure. All you have to do is position the aiming dot so it points at the gap, and it will allow you to access the mannequin, and you can take the items it's wearing. I already looted mine, and that's also the spacesuit I'm currently upgrading and wearing. Since we're talking about tricks and exploits, I have to mention that there's a way to level up extremely fast in Starfield, as fast as one level every 5 minutes. The trick can be achieved a little bit later in the game and involves killing animals spawned by the animal husbandry building. I made a video about it. I will make sure to leave a link for you in the description since it's a rather long subject. Make sure to communicate with other ship captains. Quite often you'll find yourself in an absolutely hilarious conversation with them. Lastly, I will remind you that every ship has a cargo storage and a captain locker. It's really important to remember, especially when you go looting other ships. That's it for now. Hope you found this video useful. If so, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.